You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
Hey guys, welcome in to Watson's Playbook. Episode 41, we got a format change. We're going to break off, starting off the show with the spotlight of the week, talking about Luka Doncic and how great he is. Next, we're going to bring in the headlines, the top weekly sports topics. J.J. Watt signs with the Cardinals. Seattle and Russell Wilson not seeing eye to eye. We have a new segment called What's in Your Locker. Come find out, come take a listen on Watson's Playbook, episode 41.
Remember, kid, there's heroes and there's legends. Heroes get remembered, but legends never die. Follow your heart, kid, and you never go wrong.
You, George Foreman, all of you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him. All of you. I know you got him. I know you got him picked, but the man's in trouble. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
That's the reason you're in this business. If you have any kind of pride or any kind of dedication or any kind of backbone or spunk to you, you should try to be the best in your own profession, regardless of what it is.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
The Chicago Bulls pick Michael Jordan, University of North Carolina.
Hey guys, welcome into episode 41 of Watson's Playbook. We got a special edition for you this week. We're changing up the format. We're doing things a little differently this week. We're trying to still tinker with podcasting, kind of get it to the best options available. So this week we're starting off with the spotlight of the week. That's the main topic we're going to discuss, kind of break down, get into. Then we jump into the headlines of the week. That's the top stories of the week that's happened, the past top sports stories of that week. And then the last episode, or the last segment we got for you is called, it's a new segment. It's called What's in Your Locker. And it gives me and Jeff kind of a segment where we can kind of talk about what we got planned for the week, maybe talk about something that we got on our mind. And, so that's going to be the new show. We hope you guys like it. I got Jeff on as well. He's wearing his Mavs championship hat there. How are you doing, Jeff?
Hello. I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. It's kind of a rainy day here.
We've enjoyed the beautiful weather here in Texas. It's in the 70s. It's going to stay that way for a couple weeks. It's a slight chance of rain tomorrow, but we're loving it. We can't get any better than this. When I go to work in the morning, it's about 40, 50 degrees, and then it heats up, and it's beautiful. Beautiful here in Texas. Texas did make the news this week as Governor Abbott did take away the mask on March 10th, the mandatory mandate. So that's been all over the news and opened up 100%, and that's caused a lot of fireworks, as you could say. People are heated about the decision, but like I said, most stores are going to make you still wear a mask, and if you want to wear a mask, then wear your mask.
Yeah, so I'm sure probably works and stuff like that are probably going to still be implementing stuff and whatever. It just depends on where you're working, and especially like food places and stuff like that, I'm sure. So
Yeah, I don't see much of a difference really. Business is going to be able to open up 100%, which I think is great for our economy. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But that was a little sidebar there. Speaking of earlier about your Mavs championship hat, this is episode 41. Dirk Nowitzki, 41, is your all-time best player for the Mavericks. And this spotlight of the week is Luka Mania, Jeff. We're going to break down and talk about Luka Doncic and how amazing he is and how you guys went from having Dirk Nowitzki to having a player that by the end of his career will probably be better than Dirk. Is that a fair assumption, Jeff, to you?
Definitely think that's a fair assumption. I think the Dallas Mavericks, multiple people have said that they have somebody special. Matter of fact, I think the other day when the Mavericks beat the Nets, you had Harden say that they have a special guy. So I don't think he's ever said anything good about him up to this point. So it was kind of interesting to see that. But yeah, I think it's kind of ironic. This is 41. And we're also talking about the person who's succeeding 41. And so it's an interesting episode. But yeah, this is definitely going to be a really cool topic because this is a topic that I think sports fans outside. I mean, I think a lot of sports fans know him now, but I think he's still yet to gain that massive popularity. So this is going to be a fun episode to kind of talk about,
Right. Exactly right. And Luka is interesting, right? You think about the Mavericks and you think about Dirk, and he was a European player. And back in the day, a lot of people thought the Euro players were soft and couldn't handle it. And Dirk kind of changed. He changed the way the game was played as being a big man, being able to do the things he was able to do as far as shooting and dribbling and taking those 3-point shots. And so he kind of brought that into and then changed the maybe the view of some European players coming over and playing in the NBA. Then you get Luka coming over, and there's been a big difference. If you look at the way that the NBA players train in the AAU is what it's called, and it's more of a ISO basketball. It's one-on-one, break your ankle dribbling type thing. Over there, Luka Doncic was playing professional in Europe at the age of 16. And I believe it was Greg Popovich who talked about this, about how they teach you over there how to play real basketball. They teaching you plays. They're teaching you court vision. They're teaching you to pass the ball, a ball movement. They're teaching you how to really play basketball instead of what the NBA has turned into as far as break your ankles, I'm going to shoot 3-pointers type thing. And Luka Doncic can pretty much do all that. So he's learned at a young age. He's been successfully skilled, and he's used that skill over there in Europe. He played for Real Madrid is who he played for over there in Europe. And he's been playing with them since he was 16, learned how to play real basketball. I don't know the success their team had. I think they won the championship over there. Then he got drafted by the Mavericks, and the Mavericks were kind of lucky. They were the 3rd pick in the draft. Actually, they traded up and moved up to get Luka Doncic. And they're lucky that the Suns and the Atlanta Hawks didn't draft him. And people here knew that Luka was going to be good. But he's come in and he's blown the roof off of how good he is. We just didn't expect that right away. And I think that's the shock that Luka brings, is how good he's been. He averages a triple-double about every 5 games. He's only played 3 years. He's already passed Michael Jordan for career triple-doubles. Which is like, that's insane, right? Luka's one of 2 people in history The other one's LeBron James, to average 25 points, 7 assists before the age of 22. And he's only one of 2 players to have 1,000 assists and 4,000 points before turning 22, which he turned 22 the February 28th was his birthday. He's a two-time NBA All-Star. He's an All-NBA first team. He was Rookie of the Year, All-Pro first team. The things he is doing is mind-blowing to be this good. And I think what the Mavericks and their fan base need to do is still realize this guy is still young. And he's 22. They've got the rest of his career if he stays in Dallas. Very lucky to have such a good player. You brought this topic up the other day as he's getting comps compared to Larry Bird, which that's insane because Larry Bird, we all know, is and was one of the best basketball players of his time. Now, I didn't get to watch Larry Bird's time in basketball, and I think that was the greater generation of basketball coming up. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan and all that. I kind of came in at the end of Michael Jordan's career as far as loving the game of basketball.
Yeah.
But what does that comp say? What does the comparison say to you about Luka and Larry Bird, Jeff?
Oh, the poise, the finesse, the presentation on the court, and I want to say the maturity level of him as well. You bottle that up, and I think it was I think I said it maybe last week or not, or I can't remember, but Gilbert Arenas talking about just he has the ability to outplay you based just purely on skill. And he's not gonna, and he said a lot of times players are built on power. It's like, they're gonna overpower you, and then but the way he's designed his style and even just his physique is more along the lines of, I'm going to outthink you and I'm going to make you think you got me and then go zig left as opposed to zig right. And at that point, it's like he's playing at a game where he knows 5 to 10 steps ahead of what the actual player that's guarding him is doing. And that is just, you can't teach that at that age. That's something that happens later in a career when you get older, and you're not as physical as you were and you have to change your game. And I think, Gilbert Arenas talked about how Michael Jordan had to do that. And he mirrored, towards the end of his career, he mirrored aspects of Bird, where he took that kind of mental game, that finesse game, and used it against other players where they would go to fake, turn around, shoot, or fake pass, fake shoot, and just do these weird things where, it would just fool a player and still give them the edge that makes them better than the average player. And I think just the fact that Jordan had to do it later in his career is kind of insane to see Luka doing it now. Right. And not later in his career when he's Dirk's age, and that's just incredible. And the fact that why are they giving him these praises, I think is just through the fact that the way he plays is very similar in terms of just, it's like the guy can just shoot anything. It's kind of incredible. And still somehow make it in the basket or still somehow fool the defender. It's like, when you go up against him, you really don't know what you're going to see. And It's kind of like, even for like an audience member, it's a must see. It's must see TV.
It's definitely a tune in. And when I heard the Larry Bird comp, I thought it was genius. And because for 2 reasons. When you go back and watch Larry Bird, what he did in his career, when you look at Luka and Larry Bird, you don't look at them and go, man, those look like the most athletic body types in the world. They're not out here explosively dunking in your face. They can. But to me, you look at the way Larry Bird played and Luka, they control their body with such control that they can basically do anything on the court. They're not the fastest. They're not the quickest. But Luka can get whatever shot he wants. He can score all the points he wants to score. He's going to get his points. And two, Luka's court vision is insane. You go back and you watch Larry Bird make these amazing passes that blow your mind. Like, how did he do that? Well, you look at the Mavericks right now, and that's what Luka does. He not only does he score his points, he gets everybody else involved. And the problem with the Mavericks right now is no one else is hitting those shots. So his numbers could be way even better, especially in the assists. But he's getting plenty of assists. He gets the job done, and that's what I thought of when I heard Larry Bird comp, and that was huge. Those are the two things I think of when I think about Larry Bird. He's going to get his the control of his body, and he knows what he's going to do. And it's always, like you said, 2 steps ahead of the defender, and he's going to get his teammates involved. Luka is the future of the NBA. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. This guy's 22. He is the future. I hope, Jeff, first I hope that he leaves y'all and comes to Lakers when LeBron James leaves. That would be fantastic. But he could stay with Dallas, and I think that's the next step is and it won't be anytime soon. I think he gets his next contract with you guys, but I just don't want to see his career being wasted. Now, Dirk Nowitzki got 1 championship with the Dallas Mavericks, and trust me, being a Packers fan, Jeff, I know about wasting careers. Brett Favre only got 1. Aaron Rodgers is probably going to get 1, and it's a daggum shame. I just don't want to see it with Luka because he's such a good talent, and I'm not a Mavericks fan, but I will turn on a game and watch Luka play. That he brings fans to watch, and now that hopefully the stadiums will open back up sooner than later, you Maverick fans can go and watch him play. He's something special to watch. So,
I mean, when it comes to that, a lot of players want to go, okay, well, 1 championship. So now, do we define talent? And in regards to Luka, in regards to the NBA, or in general, do we define people based on if you've only won 1? What does that matter? Is my question.
Well,
or do they have to win?
That's the ultimate sports
4,
question,
right?
And that goes right. That goes with all of them, right? It goes with the NFL. How do we compare quarterbacks? To me, the rings aren't everything, but the rings do count. So it's just interesting. I think when you look at a guy of Luka's talent, you think this guy should have multiple rings, right? You think by the way he's playing with the right team around him, he could get there. And that's what I want to see. And I have no problem with him staying in Dallas. I just want Mark Cuban to get him some help because he needs it. I
think Mark Cuban knows about why. First of all, isn't Dirk supposedly behind the scenes a little bit within the organization? Am I wrong about that? Or
not now? He's not. He's not. Right now, he's just on retirement, enjoying his vacation. I believe there's a future for him there, and okay. Michael Finley is behind the scenes there in Dallas.
Okay.
So he is.
I mean, I think that ultimately, I mean, okay, let's just say this: Dirk and Mark Cuban still talk.
Oh, probably. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Probably.
So
why would they not?
They don't talk. They hate each other. So it's. I think the thing is, when it comes to this, Dirk knows what went wrong with that team when it broke down after they won their first championship. Dirk knows what went wrong when Nash left. It's been highly publicized that Steve Nash and Dirk Nowitzki, when Nash departed, it completely derailed the team, and we had to start from zero again. I think that, and Nash even said multiple times, I wish I had stayed in Dallas, because if I had stayed in Dallas, I do think that they would have won a championship sooner than they initially did.
Yeah.
And Nash's career went nowhere, really. I mean, honestly, I think they went to the playoffs a few times with the Suns, but
they were pretty dominant in the play into getting to the playoffs. So they always ran into Kobe Bryant, and that was their downfall.
Right.
But
I mean, I think that Mark Cuban knows what happened and the ramifications of that, and I don't think that he would repeat history again. Just because I think he knows and he sees how significant this whole thing is for the organization, how significant it is for his legacy. Because ultimately, this is like Mark Cuban's, this is going to be the person that really elevates the franchise, and he knows that. That's why you hear stories of them shopping Porzingis. That's why you're hearing these little rumbles going around, even though Mark Cuban's very upset that leaked out. But I don't think he wanted it to leak out, because I think he wanted to be more of a hush hush, don't talk about this. This is kind of behind closed door kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think he wanted any riffraff within the locker room itself. So that's why I think he just wanted to kind of ignore it. But the fact that it's out shows you right there, he's not afraid to get rid of Porzingis to bring somebody else in.
Right, and the biggest thing for them is getting free agents to willingly come to Dallas, and they have not done that. They signed Kristoff, or they traded for him. They didn't agree to come to Dallas, and that's the biggest thing, is getting guys to agree to come. And I think give it a couple years, people are going to want to come play with Luka, because they realize how good he is. They realize he gets everyone else involved. People are comparing him to young LeBron James, and I think that's a good comparison as well. Give him a couple more years, see what happens. I'm interested to see if he stays, because he idolizes LeBron James, which LeBron James started all this team hopping and super team building.
Well, he also idolizes Kobe Bryant.
Yes, he does.
Very much. And then there's that real classic thing where Kobe Bryant's saying something to him while he's on the court, and he kind of turns around.
Yes, in
but
his language.
What I think,
in his own
I
language.
think Kobe saw something about this kid, because I guarantee you Kobe Bryant was eyeballing the Euro League. I mean, he lived in Italy for, X number of years. I think he paid attention to, he even enjoys soccer. I think that was one of his favorite sports. So, he obviously pays attention to European sports in some way, shape, or form. And I think he was seeing this kid come up.
I think he had some respect for him, the way he talked to him. And there's been plenty of stories about Kobe Bryant learning language just to talk trash on the court to players, which is insane, the dedication. But, he did idolize Kobe Bryant, and he played, when you look over at Real Madrid, well, they're basically the Lakers of the European League, and they get the limelight and everything else. So it's going to be interesting to see if Luka stays. I know we kind of got a little off topic on that, because that's a big question mark about getting him talent and everything that goes with that. But Luka is the next big thing in the NBA. And he's just a fun watch. So even if you're not a Mavericks fan, go out and watch him, man. He puts on a show. I live in Dallas, and when we can go, I would like to go see him play live and watch him do his thing, man. Because he's doing things that other people haven't done at this age before. He looks like he's 26 out there and has mastered basketball at the age of 22, and to see him grow.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a, if you can go on YouTube and pull up a couple of highlight reels, it's pretty incredible. I mean, it's definitely got me wanting to watch more games. because it's just interesting to me, how they were able to manage to get this guy when, I don't know if some teams, I know initially he was drafted by the Atlanta Hawks, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, and another thing that really bothered me is the way the sports media treated this kid before he even stepped foot on the court, of just completely like, this kid he's too slow. This kid, he won't, here we go with another Euro basketball player trying to come in the NBA. This is going to relate to anything, result to anything or any, whatever. And I mean, I don't want to name plug, but Stephen A. Smith was definitely one of them.
He's a fool. I don't listen to him. He's a fool.
Skip Bayless was another one.
He's also a fool.
and Chris Broussard was another one as well, and so I just wanted, it's just kind of like this kid never had a chance. And I'm glad that he's proven all these people wrong. And now they're all eating their words because they're all praising him now.
When that goes back to when you look at his body and, like you said, he's not the most athletic, but he controls his body so well. He can get to any spot on the court. His only flaw he has is his free throws are not that great. But other than that, he's a beast, and he doesn't play that amazing lockdown defense. But the NBA, no one plays that anymore. It's all about shooting threes and scoring points. So Luka
it's
Mania,
interesting.
Luka Mania.
Yeah, Luka Mania. I think who's the announcer for the Mavericks? I'm trying to think of his name. There's two color commentators, and he's the one who coined the Luka Magic quote. I don't know if you've watched some of their games, right? On FX Sports and
I haven't recently.
Okay.
I don't know who their announcer is. I mean,
one of the color commentators, he coined that whole Luka Magic. So the title of this episode is Luka Magic. So I think that it's magical to see this player at this young of an age doing the things that he's able to do, accomplishing some of the feats that he's able to accomplish, and being in an all-star game as a starter.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
At how old?
22.
22.
And I think a lot of people, a lot of people can fall into that trap because, look, he is 22 and he can be this good. So everyone puts a lot of expectation on him and they just expect it of him. And I'm like, don't put so much pressure on him right now. He's 22.
Yeah.
Still learning the game, still trying to figure that out and figure out who his teammates are and playing with them and all that stuff. So the expectations for him after the first two seasons have skyrocketed. And so there's a lot of pressure on him to win. But like I said, you got to calm down on those a little bit. No one expected him to be this good, this fast. But the Mavericks hit the lottery, and they got to figure out, like I said, put a team around him. Figure out if Kristaps Porzingis is your number 2. I don't think he is. Maybe he could be your number 3 player. I'm not sure. Put a team around him, Mark Cuban, and get this guy a championship.
And I think, in the playoffs proved some really star power that he had. If you take a look at how he was able to handle the Clippers, a team that everyone thought were just going to destroy everybody coming in, just murder all these teams. And that was it. They were the team to beat. Right. And this Maverick team with a superstar and some guys, right, came in there and what on the brink of elimination. Isn't that what it was? It was pretty close.
It was 6 games.
Yeah, but it was
Clippers won 4-2.
Right. But I mean, who would have thought that?
I mean, no, definitely taking the Clippers, that team that they had.
They took them to the wire.
6 games.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. And you argue if Porzingis was healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe they would have won.
Exactly.
But no, and that's what it's just about growth, right? So last year they got to the first round. They played the Clippers. They took them into 6 games. This year you would like to see them
Go
get in
another level.
and you would like to see them let's win a playoff series.
Right.
It depends on where they're going to fall. They kind of started off slow. Right now they're the 8th seed in the West, and the West is a very difficult conference. The East is a cakewalk except 3 teams, and the West is the toughest conference in all basketball. And so, if you get the 8th seed, you probably don't want the 8th seed because you're usually going to lose to the first seed pretty quickly. It's usually how that works. So you would like to see them get to the 6th seed, possibly. We'll see.
How many more games are left?
Well, the All-Star game, I think, is this or next weekend. It's soon, and then you got half of the season left. So
okay,
they still got quite a bit left, and they can turn it around, definitely. They started off kind of slow. Porzingis has missed a lot of games, and that's – we need to do a segment on Porzingis. He's played 1/3 of the games so far since he's been there. That's not good.
I will say I did see yesterday that they beat the Magic. I think I can't remember who they played. Or the Pistons. I think they played against the Pistons, and they barely, or was it the Magic? They barely won, and Luka wasn't even in the game.
Luka didn't play.
Porzingis played, and he won. So I mean, that's good. That's a good sign. But
you got to take now. Here's what I'll say about this. Okay, you got to take this with a grain of salt because the Mavericks have the easiest schedule in the NBA left. They have the easiest schedule the rest of the way. They beat I think it's the Magic. It was like 89-74. It was really, I mean, there was no scoring going on. They beat the Nets, but the Nets didn't have Kyrie or KD. It's only James Harden. So, a lot of these wins, they lucked out where they weren't playing these superstar players. But it's a win's a win, and it doesn't matter at the end of the day. So interesting to see where the Mavericks are going to land at the end of the year. I'm going to guess around the 6th spot, but they should make the playoffs definitely between 6, 7, and 8. The 5th seed would be kind of hard, I think, for them to get. But we'll never know what happens going forward. So
yeah, and then also, if Luka wants to get to the next level, if we're going to sit here and say that he is the future of the NBA, what do the Mavericks bring in? Who does the Mavericks bring in to then help Luka or help propel this team to the top of the level? Is the question, because I'll say this much: whatever the outcome is this year for this team, whatever the outcome is, Luka's going to put on a show. Whether it's in the playoffs or wherever, the other teammates need to then be motivated based on his efforts to then, not match, but obviously play better. A lot of teams are like that, where it's like, take a look at the Lakers. Look at the make of that team last year. Rajon Rondo, that's a head scratcher. All he does is cause drama on a team. Every team he's been on, he's caused drama. But for whatever reason, he didn't on that team. That's interesting. It's because of who's on the team. He's propelling himself to, play it in a different way, maybe think a different way, whatever, because LeBron's on the team. Right? So the same thing with the Mavericks. Because Luka's on this team, these players need to play better. But if they don't, right? Let's say they get past the first round and that's it. And Mark Cuban's like, all right, Porzingis, you barely were even in the series. You were injured this entire time. Horrible, whatever. We need to figure something out. We need to figure out how to get some more players in. What free agents are hitting the market this offseason that you would go, that's a potential?
That's a real good question, and that's one I don't know at this time, Jeff. I have to do the research on that now. That's a very good question. I would potentially make a trade. Bradley Beal's a name that's being thrown out there for a bunch of teams. Heck, I want him on the Lakers. Bradley Beal's a guy that he plays good defense. He scores a lot of points, and he's doing it all on the Washington Wizards team, who are horrible.
Wow. Okay.
So Bradley Beal's a good player. They talk about making a trade potentially for him. I do think Porzingis could pan out if he was a number 3. He could be that number 3 guy. I don't think he is there consistent enough to be a number 2. And the test last night is Porzingis was basically the Mavericks' only star on the court. Luka was out with a back injury or resting his back or whatnot. And Porzingis, you think, would take over. He had 19 points. He didn't take over the game and have a really good game, which I would like to see him do, but he didn't do that. I think he's a good number 3. I think he could work as a number 3, but they're paying him to be more than that. I think that's the biggest issue is his contract. So if they were wanting to move on, how much trade value does he have? Because right now, if you trade him, in my opinion, you would be trading him at probably his lowest trade value, and don't know what you would bring back for him. So I don't know. I think there is a pretty big free agency class this year, and I think that's why Mavericks did they saved some cap space coming into this next year, and they were looking at getting maybe Giannis, but Giannis has already signed a contract, and so I could look that up real quick here.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I don't listen to any of the local sports radio for DFW, especially when it comes to the Mavericks and stuff. I probably should subscribe to. I know that they do some of the stuff on podcasts now. They'll take segments and they'll put them on a podcast form. So that's something definitely I want to take a look at, because I know that some of there's a lot of insight in there, and they can do interviews and stuff like that about what they're hearing from sources that they have inside the organization itself as to what kind of ideas they're looking at and throwing around. I definitely could possibly, I'll say this much. If the Mavericks really want to change this team completely and turn it all around, is Porzingis still under contract?
Yeah, for like 4 or 5 more years. So they're locked into him for quite a while. They can trade away. I don't know what the cap.
What's the cap hit on? Yeah, that's my question. So even if they traded him, they'd have to sit there and kind of maybe eat some money just because of the injury issue. That is all obviously people know about. Or it's keep him, trade junk players, maybe some draft picks, maybe even with some money incentive, grab somebody that's like on the Washington Wizards, like you were talking about, how they were implying that was a possibility. And then the rest of the team fill it out with just, money ball players that people don't really care, and possibly don't want. And if you could build a team around those 3 players, is that a difference maker? Is that a completely different team where you go, holy crap, this team's going to be scary?
Yeah, it's all interesting to see what they do. The biggest free agents next year is Kawhi Leonard's a free agent, DeMar DeRozan, Drew Holiday, LaMarcus Aldridge, Victor Oladipo, which is an interesting one. I think they could possibly swing to come to Dallas. Houston Rockets traded for him this year, and then they gave him a 2-year, $45 million contract, and he returned it down. So he wants to hit free agency. So that could be one to kind of pair up with them. They talked about 105.3 The Fan today talked about trading for JJ Redick, who's a guy who they need. I mean, he's a shooter, and the Mavericks lack in 3-point shooting. The biggest hit, I think, they traded what's his face?
Steph Curry.
Not Steph. Seth?
Not Seth Curry. Gosh, why'd they name their kids so similar?
Seth and They traded Seth Curry away, and he was one of their biggest scorers. And I wish they would have traded him to the Lakers. They traded him away to the 76ers, and they got a guy that has some potential, but he plays more defense and he does play some offense, and he really hasn't panned out. I can't even think of the guy's name. So they're missing that production. And that's like I said earlier, Luka's passing to wide open players and they're just not making those shots.
Yeah.
So that's the issue. They need 3-point shooters. And I think they need one more score to go along. Victor Oladipo would be an interesting add. I don't think Kawhi Leonard's coming to Dallas from the LA Clippers. But those are some names that, Mike Conley from the Utah Jazz would be an interesting pickup too. He's a free agent after this year. And the Jazz are actually right now the number 1 seed in the West. So that makes that interesting. And the Suns, I think, are number 2, if I'm not mistaken. So it's interesting to have both those teams up front. I don't really – the Jazz are one of those teams where you're like, okay, well, when you hit the playoffs, let's prove it, because you usually fail in there. So I don't take them serious just yet. But those are some free agencies, the free agents that are on the market. I don't know. Maybe there's a better market next season, and is the COVID, going to hurt the cap space like it did the NFL this season and all that stuff. So there's a lot of questions about cap space, cap money. I know more about the NFL cap than I do the NBA cap. And I don't know the Mavericks cap situation as far as money-wise goes. But that's a good question and something that we need to look up. And
in terms of when they got rid of some players, that could also be potentially being a salary dump, where it's just like, let's try to trim as much fat off this team as possible, preparing ourselves, knowing that we're not going to win the championship this year, but knowing that maybe I'm kidding.
The Mavericks aren't winning this year, buddy.
No, it's the Jazz. But you don't know, maybe.
It could be. My best bet's the Lakers or the Clippers. But it is what it is. We'll see. Or the Nets. I mean, the Nets are the only powerhouse right now. But
I think in terms of, if you look down at kind of what this team potentially could be doing, it is trimming the fat off the team and trying to get to a point where they can spend money. And it's a very big possibility. I think this would probably be the one moment where I'm like, Mark Cuban's probably going to go crazy.
He needs to, and they have to figure it out and get him some help. That's all I want. As long as the Dallas Mavericks aren't playing the Lakers, I would want Luka to get his championship ring. Dirk deserved more than one, but he only got one. So
he'll get his championship ring, and then he'll hit the free agent market and go to the Golden State Warriors. Brian, you're like, I don't even want to.
Heck, I'll take him in the Lakers.
Not the Warriors? Come on, Brian. We need another.
I'll take him in the Lakers all day. I hate super teams. I hate it. It makes the NBA boring. To me, the Brooklyn Nets are the only team that has 3 superstars, super team. The other teams are, you have a duos. Right now the Lakers having a problem with Anthony Davis staying healthy. And
was that a problem? Was that a problem before?
Yeah, Anthony Davis has been injury prone even with New Orleans, and that's his big issue. Now he stayed pretty healthy last year, and it turned out to be a championship. And the Lakers team, it has a better roster. And when I look, here's the difference too, Jeff. When you look at rosters, Porzingis played the other night, and that was basically it, right? They didn't have Luka, and they only scored 89 points, and they beat a team 89-74 or something like that. It was a old school game. Like, you don't see those scores anymore. The Lakers played Sacramento the other night. They didn't have LeBron or Anthony Davis, and they lost to the Sacramento Kings 123-122. So our roster is maybe still being able to score points, and that's what I worry about with the Mavericks. And that's what Charles Barkley said it the other night is they rely too much on Luka. If Luka has a good game, they have a good shot to win. If he doesn't, or if he misses a game, they don't. And that's the issue. And it's about finding those shooters like a JJ Redick, a guy that when Luka does make an amazing pass, can knock down those open threes, and finding those shooters right now. the Mavericks, I think last time we talked about it, I still think they are one of the worst 3-point shooting percentage teams in the NBA. And that's got to change, I think, if you want to be good in the way the NBA is played today. So,
yeah, I mean, you can say that about anybody, honestly. So you mentioned the Lakers. Well, the Lakers still lost by 20-something points. That's a lot.
No. It was 122 to 123. We lost by 1 point.
Okay. I thought you said it was like 1-0 something. I'm like,
no. We only lost by 1. So,
okay.
And that was my knock on the Lakers last year is our bench and our roster, other than Anthony Davis and LeBron James, is a joke. I was like, we're not winning because we won. And we upgraded that roster this year. We're even better with Anthony Davis if he gets healthy.
Think about the consistency, though. Do you think that the Lakers, let's just say this much. Let's say LeBron and Anthony Davis injured and they're out for a month. Would you trust this team?
No.
Okay.
So you don't even have to answer you don't even have to ask that question.
Right. So what do you think your record would be in a month without both of them?
Well, how many games do they play in a month, Jeff? Let's see. Let's say they play 20 games in a month. 5 and 15.
Okay.
Maybe. Without the two superstars, it's not very good. And without Luka, I understand that's a big piece missing, but you expect think about it this way. Other star though to step up.
Yeah. Think about it this way. Luka was out, Porzingis came in, they won. Whether it be close or not, they won, right? So
at the end of the day, that's all that matters, right?
If you think about it, you can say that about anybody. I mean, the Mavericks just took down the Nets. Nets were missing 2 players, 2 high-profile players that probably would have definitely showed up and probably could potentially have beat the Mavericks. So, even though Harden did turn the ball over 6 times, I think I saw that, but still they were down by a number of players. If you take the top player on any team and just remove them out, I mean, what is the team? Look at the Warriors. Warriors. Look what happened to the Warriors. 3 years ago?
What I'm saying is, your roster is unable to score. 89 points isn't going to beat anybody unless you're playing the Pistons or the Orlando Magic. So that's my problem is the roster that's around Luka without Luka's out doesn't score enough. And Porzingis put up 19 points, which that's fine. 19 points a game is good. But the money he's getting paid for, he's supposed to be that next star. He's supposed to be getting you 25 or more points a game.
Well, that's not money the Mavericks paid him. That's money that was given to him from another organization. The Mavericks just took on the contract. No, y'all extended him. Oh, we did? Okay.
Y'all extended him. Y'all gave him a 5-year, $165 million contract, something like that.
Okay.
That's the issue. That's the problem right now with the Mavericks is if they got Porzingis, Jeff. He's nicknamed the Unicorn. They got Porzingis, and they found out his wings were taped on, and his horn was one of those happy birthday kitty horns wrapped around his head. Oh man, no, I'm not trying to sit here and trash talk Kristaps Porzingis, but just this issue, and we all know it.
And I think
that was the risk.
I think
he's injury prone. So
I think that's an issue with a number of players. I mean, you could say the same thing about Anthony Davis. Can Anthony Davis stay healthy, Brian?
But Jeff, he came to the Lakers. He won a championship.
He won a championship.
Yes, you can't argue with me with Anthony Davis and Kristaps, bro. They're in a different level.
No. I'm not saying they're the same player. I'm saying in terms of health, right?
Well, I know, but when Anthony Davis
wasn't that the knock on Anthony Davis was that he could not stay healthy?
Yes. But when he's on the court, Jeff, he puts up 30 some odd points.
When he's on the court.
Which is way more than Kristaps Porzingis. That's the problem.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it?
Kristaps Porzingis has only played 1/3 of the games, Jeff.
Okay.
But that's a Dallas Maverick. 1/3. That's horrible for the money you're paying him.
So how far would the Lakers go in the playoffs without KD?
Without AD?
Or without AD, Katie.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough because we still got LeBron. And we upgraded the roster. Now, last year with the roster, we would have been nothing. This year, we probably win one series. But the thing is when Anthony Davis is on the court, he shows up every night.
Right.
Kristaps Porzingis doesn't. I mean, he's not going to go out there and take over a game when he needs to take over a game. He's going to give you 19 points a game. It's not going to be anything spectacular.
Oh no, I don't think Kristaps Porzingis is ever going to be like, give me the ball the last seconds of the game. That's going to Luka Doncic. But it's the same thing with the Lakers. Who's getting the ball at the end of the game? It's not going to be Anthony Davis. It's going to be LeBron James. Every single time.
No. LeBron has given the ball to Anthony Davis plenty of times to shoot that game.
Okay. All right.
Now it does go into LeBron's Sam a lot, but
whose hand do you trust more?
They're two top 5 players, Jeff. I'll trust you. Give the ball to either one of those guys to shoot. I'll live with those consequences.
One player. You have to choose one player.
One player. I'm choosing LeBron.
Okay, makes sense. I choose that too.
So, anyways, that's just my point is our roster's better and y'all just need to build your roster up and
I think they will. I mean, I think they will,
Eventually,
it's just, I don't think they need to bring in every superstar known to man to then go and propel ourselves all the way to a championship. I think that smartly putting players around this team that complement Luka is what you're going to need. Players who are good at shooting the three. This is going to be a high scoring team. I do not think they're going to bring in a defensive juggernaut and then all of a sudden have like the top defense and the top offense. And I just don't think that's going to happen.
Well, that's what you're missing from last year. Last year, you had the number 1 offense proficiency in the NBA. Right. I mean,
under some weird skewed whatever. Last year is just a weird. That's just a weird season. I don't know. Like
they still played all the games.
Well, no, they still played all their games. But I mean, honestly, it's kind of like I'd rather just see a full season, a normal season, and then kind of judge the team from that point on. Last year's just a weird on off. Protests off, not playing some game. It's just like these weird. And then now, we're noticing that they're resting players a little bit more. You notice that? Because of that short off season that was like what, a month?
Yeah, it was very short. And when you had the Lakers go all the way and win it, they got LeBron James. And I just talked about this a while back I thought this about, man, this guy's 36. He's coming off no rest after winning the championship right to the sea. I mean, it's crazy, but
yeah. So it's interesting. I think that they're definitely going to bring pieces in to complement him, and I think that it's just a matter of what Mark Cuban is going to do in the offseason, and it's just time to spend money, and I think he's going to do it this year.
All right, Jeff, I think that concludes our spotlight of the week talking about Luka Magic. And look, go watch him, guys. He's fantastic. He is the future. All right, Jeff.
He's not as good as Brian, but
shoot, I wish.
Who can be?
I wish, right? Who's good? Yeah. Yeah. All right, Jeff, we're going to jump into the headlines of the week. We had quite a bit of headlines this week. Some interesting headlines. J.J. Watt, Jeff. What a shocker. I think he shocked the world of NFL. He signs a 2-year contract with the Arizona Cardinals. It's a deal that is worth $31 million, and he has $23 million guaranteed. It makes you wonder if Watt signed just for the money. And the biggest thing when he left Houston was he wants a chance to win the Super Bowl. And there was a lot of teams on the board that we heard rumors was, Green Bay Packers. You heard the Buffalo Bills. You heard the Steelers to go play with his brothers. You heard those teams, Tennessee Titans. And he signed with the Cardinals. And it makes you go, what? He thinks they're going to win the championship. The Cardinals have the 17th best odds in Vegas to win this championship next year. So the odds are not too good for them. But then a report broke the other day that J.J. Watt did not take the most money. He was offered more money by the Indianapolis Colts, which was a low-key team that we didn't hear about. And the Cleveland Browns offered him more money as well. And he didn't take it. He went to St. Louis, or he went not St. Louis. He went to Arizona. I don't know what to think of it, man. I 2-year deal. It's a lot of money. You hope that he's healthy for that team. But to me, Jeff, it's a lose-lose situation, right? If he joined the Bucs, people would have said, "Oh, he's just a bandwagon. He jumped on the easy championship team, and if they win, it doesn't. It took the easy way out. And if you don't join a team like that, where you join the Cardinals, people say, "Oh, he just signed for the money. It's all about the money." It was interesting they signed there. I don't expect the Cardinals to win the championship, so.
I don't think anybody expects the Cardinals to win the championship.
No, not at all.
Oh, man. Yeah, head scratcher. I thought he was going to go to Tampa. I swear he would have gone to Tampa. Or Green Bay. It was either Tampa or Green Bay. I don't know where else he would have gone. I mean, honestly, maybe KC, but I don't think they could have afforded him.
Yeah, maybe, that's what Green Bay has no money, Jeff. We have none. We're negative on the cap. And my thought was, if he comes to Green Bay, it's going to have to be for a minimal contract. And we would have been a beast on our line, and our linebackers would have been a beast with with J.J. Watt being added there. I mean, it would have been great. But I kind of already was like, no, he's not. He's not taking the veteran minimum to come to Green Bay.
When you're only owned by the fans, I mean,
yeah, he has a lot of ties. He grew up in Green Bay. He went to Wisconsin college. So, but I was like, it's a pipe dream. But to sign with the Cardinals was like, oh man, I don't think you're winning. But
Kyler Murray.
Yeah, he said he has faith in him, and DeAndre Hopkins is there from the Texans, so maybe that had some pull. So we'll see. Report came out: Washington football team is going to release Alex Smith. And, Alex Smith had the horrible leg injury. He came back, won comeback player of the year. And interesting report came out the other day that said Alex Smith said the football team didn't want him back. It said his comeback went against what the team had in mind. And he said he felt unwanted in Washington, which I thought was very weird because you wouldn't think that the way, during the season, they didn't act that way. And he was their best quarterback on their team last year. So to hear the reports about him saying that they didn't want him and was shocking to me. So we'll see what they're going to do to get another quarterback because they don't have one right now. And Alex Smith is just, I don't know if anybody signs him, maybe a backup. I don't know, but we'll see what his future is. Maybe he retires. He was wanting to come back and say he could do it again. But
to me, that's a little unfortunate. I think this guy improved a lot to this team. I think they should have at least gave him, a couple more years just to kind of maybe a year. I mean, what are they going to have, Brian? Who do they have?
Well, they got to draft somebody, and they got to draft somebody and do it right this time. They wasted a draft on.
But I mean,
Haskins.
but even if he was just in there, just as, hey, if we draft a quarterback, we're probably going to want to start him. Do you mind playing this role? I don't think Alex Smith would care. Honestly, I really don't. I think he would just, he would just be like, sure, yeah, I'll mentor someone. Like, this guy was on the verge of not even playing the game anymore. I don't really think he would care if he was just a hedge.
Right. I think he would have done it. I mean, right now it's like, who's picking up Alex Smith right now? I don't know. Maybe a backup quarterback. Hey, the Patriots could use him.
Yeah, that's true.
Patriots could definitely use him. This one's big news, Jeff. And this is, I've been thinking about this one in my head for the last couple of weeks here. Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks are not happy with each other. Rumors swirling as Wilson took to the media to publicly display the dirty laundry in Seattle. Russ feels like he's being held back, Jeff, which I agree. I am not a big fan of Seattle. I'm not a big fan of Pete Carroll and the mentality that he has. I do think They are holding Russell Wilson back. Where does the organization go, Jeff? You got an elite quarterback. In my opinion, an elite quarterback is harder to find than a head coach. Do they believe in Pete Carroll? I believe that Pete Carroll's got a lot of pull there. He's won a championship. He's been to back-to-back Super Bowls. His philosophy is run the ball, play good defense, and don't turn over the football. Russell Wilson wants to throw the ball. Let Russ cook. This has hit steam, Jeff. And look, Deshaun Watson wants out of Houston, said he won't play another game for Houston. They refuse to pick up the phone calls. Reports are that the Seattle Seahawks are taking those phone calls, Jeff. So this is more serious, I think, than anything. I don't think it happens this year, but I could see Russell Wilson being traded next season. And the reason why I don't think it happens this year, because if they trade Russell Wilson this year, they have to pay $40 million of dead money towards the cap. So I don't think it happens this year, but I could easily see it next season. And I keep hearing, Jeff, the Chicago Bears are the number one team. What I would suck. God, I want to face Russell Wilson twice a year, all right? With that defense, they're a quarterback away, in my opinion, as long as they keep Allen Robinson there with Chicago. He named 4 teams he wants to go to. He said, first of all, he says, I don't demand a trade, but these are the teams I would like to go to if you do trade me. Dallas Cowboys, Oakland Raiders, the New Orleans Saints, and the Chicago Bears. And Chicago's a quarterback away. The Saints need a new quarterback. I don't know what Drew Brees is doing. He hasn't officially retired yet, but he's going to be a nobody if he comes back. Oakland Raiders have Derek Carr. They say they're not partnering with him. The Dallas Cowboys is an interesting pick. I don't think Jerry Jones is signing and trading Dak Prescott. So we'll see what happens. I just don't understand. And you haven't heard, Jeff, a lot of talk about why don't if Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll are butting heads, why doesn't Seattle just fire the head coach? Because I tell you what, Russell Wilson's an elite quarterback, and they're harder to find than a head coach.
I don't know. You can find quarterback in back alley.
No, an elite quarterback, Jeff.
An elite quarterback. You can find an elite quarterback in back alley. No, I'm just checking.
Just pull him out of the trash. Here he is, guys.
And you call Drew Brees a nobody. He's not a nobody. He's Drew Brees.
Nope. Don't get me started.
I'm just putting you on the spot. No, I mean, I don't want to see him in Dallas for obvious reasons. I don't want to see him.
I do and I don't.
I don't want to see him in Oakland for obvious reasons. I don't care if he goes to the Saints, by all means. Not even it doesn't matter to me. You would probably care. And obviously you would care if you went to the Bears. But,
I would rather him stay in Seattle where they do. I do think they handicap him. They handcuff him. They'll let him throw as much as he could.
I mean, literally handcuff him.
They handcuff one hand behind his back, or go to Oakland where John Gruden can waste away the rest of his years. But spit fire.
You know what? I'll say this much. You know what? Go to Dallas. Send him to Dallas. Swap him with Dak, and let's see what kind of crazy show we get.
Now, it would be a lot cheaper for the Dallas Cowboys to do that, Jeff.
I would. Sure.
Russell Wilson's getting paid 19 and then 21 and 21 million the next 3 years. So it'd be a lot cheaper.
And guess what? They're going to cap Dak. They're going to put a salary cap or they're going to put a franchise tag on him. They're going to tag him up. So I mean, You think that they're not going to do that? And as soon as they do that, and guess what? If they don't want to freaking sign him, guess what's going to happen? They'll trade him.
We'll have to, Jeff. We'll have to. There's going to be plenty of time to do a Dak Prescott segment on the show.
They can guarantee, first of all, they're going to attack him, and they're going to hope that he plays insane when he comes back, because all it would take is for him to play really, really, really well. And the Cowboys are at the perfect position. The Seahawks are at the perfect position, and they swap them.
Well, first of all, it wouldn't be an even swap. Dallas would have to send Dak Prescott and probably 2 or 3 first-round picks.
Sure. Why not? Why
And
not? Jerry needs to do it.
That could be the all-in move that Jerry needs, and I do think if they did that, the Cowboys would be Super Bowl contenders off the bat. Russell Wilson's that good. Now, Dak Prescott's top 10 quarterback, wherever you want to put him. He is. The problem, I don't want to get too far on a Dallas Cowboy, Dak Prescott rant, whatever. The problem is Dak Prescott wants elite money, and he's not elite. Now, the other issue, Jeff, is quarterbacks in the NFL don't get paid on talent. They get paid on next man up. That's
market value. They get paid. Whatever
it's
the market
value, but it's that leapfrog. It's next man up. Oh, I'm next man. I want more than the most.
Right.
And that's not how it should be. It should be on how good are you.
Right.
But it's not that way. So when Dak Prescott comes out in the report and says, I want to get paid right behind Patrick Mahomes, people are going, this guy thinks he's Patrick Mahomes? No. It's not what he's saying. But that's what happens with NFL quarterbacks is they leapfrog and they get paid that next contract. There's a lot of reports, though, that come out and said the Dallas Cowboys have to March 9th to get a deal done with Dak Prescott or they have to tag him. Now, a lot of reports are saying if they do not reach a long-term contract with Dak Prescott and they tag him, a lot of people are assuming he will be gone from Dallas. And they say – and I do agree, if they do tag Dak Prescott and they can't get a long-term deal, the Dallas Cowboys need to look at drafting their future quarterback this year. I'm not trying to get into too much of the Dak and Cowboys. That can be a whole nother segment, a spotlight of the week coming up whenever.
Yeah.
So, but I just think, first of all, if I'm a Seahawks fan and I hear Russell Wilson wants out and then he wants traded – I'm mad. I am begging them. You can't. Russell Wilson? No. You keep Russell Wilson and you get rid of Pete Carroll or you figure a way to get it working. But Russell Wilson is looking out and looking to get out. And they say they're answering the phones. So the Houston Texans aren't even answering the phone calls right now. So,
yeah, I think it's interesting. Honestly, personally, I'd love to see him go to the Cowboys just to see the show. I just want to watch the show.
Oh, it would give everyone and us plenty of content to talk about on this podcast. So I'm all for it.
Oh yeah, all the people who have been just praising Dak. I mean, will they be praising him anymore? Probably not. They'll probably be like, get him out of here. Bring in, Russell Wilson. But it's it's going to be fun to watch.
All right, Jeff. Tom Herman. Do you know who Tom Herman is, Jeff?
I can't say I do.
Tom Herman used to be the Texas Longhorns head coach of football. He got fired. He failed in Texas. All right. He gets hired on with the Chicago Bears as a special projects coach, which I've never heard of in my life, and then as an offensive coach as well. So I don't think that's going to really matter with the Bears. Interesting, Jeff. I know I probably watch more college football than you do, but interesting reports came out this week and emails. UT Texas Longhorns threatened by boosters to keep their alma mater in fight song or they will stop sending the school money. The players wanted this song changed last season with cancel culture and all this stuff that's changing. They felt that this song, it plays to the tune of I'm Working on the Railroad, which people say has a connotation of some racial history and sensitivity. And the players walked off the field last year when it was played, and the boosters did not like that. The boosters send in threatening emails to say that if they do not play that song, if the players do not stand on the sideline and sing this song, they will remove their money from University of Texas. The University of Texas is doing an investigation or a report, and there's some emails, Jeff, that were sent had some racial comments in them. I'm not going to read them on this podcast, but they were very racial and sensitive. But I don't, when it all comes down to it, what runs the world, Jeff? Money, right? I don't think the song gets changed. Because the boosters pay UT millions and millions of dollars, just like most schools, especially with a good, football program. I don't think the school gets. Now, the school did come out and say that these emails and all that stuff, does not reflect us or most of our students or most of the blah blah blah. I don't think the song gets changed, because if the boosters were to pull the money, then that would be a big issue. And money rules the world. The song will be played. That's my guess.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be tricky. This probably could just drag out for multiple years. I don't think they're going to come to any kind of anything soon. So,
well, here's the thing, Jeff. And the thing is, you can play the song. The players don't want to hear it. So the problem that the boosters have, or some of them, not all of them, some of them,
right.
The players didn't, they're not respecting the song. They walk off the field. They want these players to sit there on the sideline and sing this song proudly. And that just, you cannot force someone to do that.
No.
That's just it. So the compromise is, you can stand there with your hand over your heart and sing it in the stands, and you can be proud of that song, and we'll still play it. But these players that don't want to listen to it, don't want anything to do with it, they get to go to the locker room.
And that makes sense. I think that's kind of a compromise, whatever.
Yes.
It's up to the school ultimately. If and whatever, even with all the negativity surrounding it, if it's bad enough, the school will get rid of it. If enough people, hound them, the school will change things. I mean, we see it in the NFL, we see it in Major League Baseball. So, you get loud enough, you will cause somebody to decide maybe this is the wrong thing to do, or whatever, this isn't what we want to do. But it is what it is. But the fact that they're allowing the players to just leave, then that's giving them an option, at least.
Right. Definitely. So. And it was quite interesting to hear all those emails come out, and but they got to make a decision. So our next headline is, I didn't know if you knew this, Jeff, there's a new football league, and it's called the FCF, and it's fan-controlled football, and fans can control rosters, plays, head coaches, and it's along the line of arena football. And the main stars, Johnny Manziel and Josh Gordon, two players that didn't quite pan out in the NFL, are getting their shot to play football again. So that's interesting. I haven't watched it. I don't know where I can turn on the TV and watch it at.
So I heard about this from Kind of Funny Games, which is a YouTube / the podcast. And I heard about them saying we own a team, and I was just like, I'm like, wait a minute, they own a football team? That doesn't make any sense. And I remember seeing this, and it was fan controlled. I don't know the details behind this. I need to really dive deep into it, because it still is relatively new. But it's something that's very interesting, and it's like a real version of fantasy football. Isn't that kind of the idea? Or
I guess the AAF that started this fan investment into it, where you could, it was in live game betting, where you could bet, I think they're going to run it to the left or whatever. And this is, they're kind of taking it to the next step of, I think the fans call the plays, the fans control rosters, and it's just I don't know exactly how they do it. Is it something that will succeed? Probably not. But it is what it is. Just gives you another option to watch. I just don't think it's going to be that interesting. Let's see. Kyle Van Noy is released from the Miami Dolphins. Was a really good linebacker for the Patriots. He went on to sign with the Dolphins. They just signed him to like a 5-year, $4-year, $54 million deal, and they cut him after 1 year.
Dang.
Interesting. I don't know why. I don't know if they're saving cap room.
Doesn't
saving
seem
money.
like the Dolphins need to be very picky, does it? I mean,
well, this is a team that's turning the corner. They went 10
so
and 6.
just, I mean, it seems like he was, I don't know. Did his stats just drop? Like, what happened there?
I'm not sure. I don't know if he had a really good year this year, but he's a good name. He came down from the Patriots, and he looks to be good. I'll take him on my team. So it's interesting to see him cut. I don't know if this is a cap space issue. They're trying to make more room for a cap. I don't know how much hit they're taking off this, but the reports and rumors are that this free agency, when it hits, I think in a couple weeks, when they can start officially making cuts and making moves, is going to be like wildfire because of the cap space issues we have because of COVID, the cap going down. So they say this offseason for the NFL is going to be huge. They say you're going to see teams cut players that you would not think they're going to cut. Kyle Van Noy. So maybe that's just the first of it.
Patrick Mahomes,
yeah. The Giants cut Tate today. They're the wide receiver, so Golden Tate. So you're going to see, they said some surprise moves. The Golden Tate one, no big deal. He's getting older and stuff. But Kyle Van Noy was one that I was like, really? I thought he's a pretty good linebacker. NBA
Aaron
news,
Rodgers.
Jeff. Oh, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
We would trade him first.
Come on, Jordan Love. Come on.
No. We might trade Jordan Love. There's rumors of that happening. Yeah. Because we didn't expect Aaron Rodgers to be the MVP of the league and play like this for 3 more years. So if, that's for another episode, Jeff. I could talk, you get me talking Green Bay, I could go off.
We'll talk about that on episode 100.
Oh, yeah. The next one is the Hawks fire their head coach, Lloyd Pierce, after another terrible start. Now, this blew up bigger than it needed to be. Lloyd Pierce was 63 and 120, Jeff. Does that sound like a good record to you? No, exactly. We've had coaches come out. Carlisle came out. Greg Popovich came out and said that this was a bad firing. This guy, I think it was Rick Carlisle. They basically hinted that it kind of made it sound like he said he shouldn't have been fired because he was a Democrat. And I was like, what? Don't know. I don't know. 63 and 100. When I heard that, I was like, who cares? They're the Hawks. They're a bad basketball team. And this guy didn't do much with them. There were rumors that he didn't get along with their head star. I'm drawing a blank, Jeff.
Is it Trae Young?
Trae Young. Thank you. Yes. He's the weird-looking kid from Oklahoma. Yeah, he's their star. He's a good player, but
yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, they fire the coach. It is what it is. I have no beef about it. So
yeah, I have no idea about the guy. I just see the record, and yeah, it makes some sense as to why. Right. In terms of product on the field, or on the court field, I can't really attest to anything. I know they have a really good player in Trae Young, but that's about it. That's all I know.
All right, Jeff, it's about that time for our new segment called What's in Your Locker. And like I explained at the beginning of this episode, it's a little segment that we can talk about whatever you want. One piece of information you want to throw out there, something that's happening in your week, whatever you want, Jeff. What is in your locker?
Okay, in my locker, it's definitely been just, watching some baseball stuff, listening to a lot of Yankee podcasts. Gotta prepare for the season. It's kind of, looking at what my team is going to do compared to the division and division rivals, and see what they're up to. That's kind of what I've been paying attention to a lot lately is baseball spring training. Kind of, getting an idea of what young talent looks like for the team. Are the stars that we already have starting to pick it up as opposed to start late as they typically do? And so that, along with, just kind of chilling out and watching some crime shows, and kind of getting ready for the MLB The Show game. I'm very excited. It's about 40 some odd days left until that game comes out, and I'm super excited. It's one of my favorite yearly releases in terms of sports games. Usually with sports games, I skip, I'll skip here and there, and then I'll go and I'll grab it, down the road. I don't think I've purchased a Madden game in probably 5 years.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
So that's one in terms of what's in my locker, I mean, I just got baseball on the mind. I'm paying attention to some basketball stuff, but man, baseball is my number one sport. So in my locker, it's all baseball stuff right now. What's in your locker?
What's in my locker, Jeff? Well, my locker is February, we celebrate quite a bit of birthdays in February. My dad's birthday was the 28th. My Phoebe, she's now 5, is the 22nd. My mom, we just celebrated her birthday, was March 2nd. And then my littlest one is March 7th. So we got a lot of birthdays all wrapped up. We've been eating a lot of cake. So that's not very good for us. We went and they poured the foundation on our house last week. We were excited about that. And we didn't know if it was going to get done because it did rain quite a bit last week, but they were able to lay the foundation, and they update us. In my homes is who's building, and they update us each week on what they plan on doing. So we got a text that says, hey guys, we're ordering your lumber this week. It should be here. We start framing, which I hear once it starts framing, it goes pretty quickly. We thought the house was going to be delayed, but because they were able to get the foundation going, we think it's going to be right on time for us, which is fantastic. So we drove up there, and we like to, now we're going to be able to see it, the process of starting, which is super exciting. We started a show called, The Good Place. It's like 4 seasons. It's a show about, I guess, the afterlife, and you get placed in the good place or bad place, and this girl gets mixed up, and she's supposed to go with the bad place, so she goes to the good place, and it starts ruining the good place, and this crazy stuff starts happening. It's pretty funny. It's not a new show. It's not an old show, but the last thing that if I dig down deep in my locker here, Jeff, I watched an interesting documentary this weekend called The Long Shot. And it's just an hour documentary. And it's about a guy who was saved from a murder charge because he went to a Dodgers game.
I saw that.
That's a very good watch. It was. And what was interesting, not when you say that, you're like, oh, that sounds pretty interesting. But everything that had to happen that never happened for this guy to get found not guilty of murdering somebody and spending the rest of his life in jail. So it's on Netflix. It's called Long Shot. Go watch it. It's only an hour long, so not a very long watch, but it's really good. Really good watch there. So I watched that over the weekend, and pretty interesting.
I recommend it too. Go see that. It's so good. So good. And it would be what you would never expect how he got out. It would be, it's so weird, but yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. All the coincidences in life, right?
Exactly.
That had to line up this day. Everything that happened for him to get off it's just insane. You can't write a story better than that. So
yeah.
Go watch it. It's on Netflix. So I like a lot of documentaries. We're also watching one. It's a 4-part documentary on the Hotel Cecil. Have you heard about that?
Yes, my wife and I've watched that.
I think maybe you told me about it.
Yeah.
And so we're can't watch it with the girls around because it's kind of creepy. But it's basically about this girl that travels from Canada to California, and she stays at the Hotel Cecil, which you find out the Hotel Cecil's had like plenty of murders and all sorts of things. They break it down, and she just disappears. and you find out. I haven't seen the whole thing, so you find out no one really knows what happened to her and stuff.
Yeah.
So a little creepy, but you can watch that as well. So that's what we've been doing. That's what's in my locker this week. We hope you guys like this format better. I think getting to the main topic right away, if that's what you guys want to listen to, is a good idea. So we're going to continue with that probably. And just give us any feedback you want. Watson's Playbook at gmail.com.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, go ahead and comment. Once and if you hit the thumbs up, that really would help out as well.
Yes.
Subscribe and also, hit the bell notification and everything. So when we do upload something, you'll see it pop up. And it'll help promote this and YouTube. And also, I will put a link in the description of the video for the actual podcast locations. So I will have the Apple Podcasts, the Spotify. I think we're on Spotify, and also iHeartRadio and Google Podcasts. So.
Yes, and we started a Facebook I do have a Facebook page. Watch this playbook at Facebook. We're on the Buzzsprout. So we created a YouTube channel. And we actually have 2 YouTube channels out right now because we found a way that makes it easier. It's called a brand account, where me and Jeff can log on to the same account without having any security questions and debacles or anything like that. So I'm going to keep up our Watson's Playbook YouTube channel, the one that has 2 or 3 episodes on it, for about a month to give you guys a chance to switch over. And then I'm going to delete that one. There'll only be one Watson's Playbook YouTube channel, but that way me and Jeff can both work on it. And Jeff's going to upload those videos, all of it on there anyway. So go like, subscribe, comment. If you ever want to reach out to me at watsonsplaybook at gmail.com, you got any questions, you got any topics you want to talk about sports-wise, feel free. You got any topics you want to talk about other than that, feel free. You just whatever you want to know more about me and Jeff, feel free to ask. You can basically find us just about anywhere. We're on Twitter as well. I'm thinking about covers, Jeff. Thinking about covers.
All right. Well, just stay safe and just share this around as much as you can.
Yes, do so, please, guys. God bless you, and I hope you guys have a fantastic week.